Alright, we're back here. Another episode on this old rusty pile. So, for those following the last video, that's about as far as I got with the quarter panel. Just kind of got it tack welded in there. And next thing I want to do is tackle this rocker panel, because it was all, this whole bottom of the car was rotted out. Then as you can see, the door is, that's actually the outer skin of the door. It's completely separated from the inner side of the door, and you got some rust holes here. See if I can zoom out a little bit. What'll end up happening is I can measure straight across and take a piece of tape and just run a line from forward to back where I'm gonna cut, because this was just covered with all Bondo, but there's some places I think I put some light on it, and there you go. You can see that there's still good metal in here, probably up to about here, so I can just cut that all out. And there's gonna be a patch panel for the outer door, and there's a piece for the inner door. As you can see, inner door is gone as well. But that's not what we're gonna do today. That's another project in itself. What I'm trying to do is get this rocker panel positioned where I want it, because I can't really use the door as a reference, and there was really nothing left of that old rocker panel. Here's a little piece of it. Can't really use that for a reference on anything. So I've locked in the front fender. It's bolted in at the bottom. It's not going anywhere, and it's where it's gonna be. Now I can use the front fender to kind of reference where I want this rocker panel. Get that little gap in there. Nothing too excessive, but not, pushed up against there. So I've got this clamp here to keep it lined up forward and back, or I guess this is technically side to side, but it's flush with the fender here. And then I'm gonna have to take a hammer and just kind of pound it down a little bit so I get it flush on these two corners here. Don't mind this. This will actually, I might end up either cutting that off or roll it the other direction. I think it's actually supposed to be for like a pinch weld to the inner rocker panel, which I don't have yet. So it looks ugly, but it'll probably just stay there for a little while until I get the inner figured out. So the front is about situated where I want it, minus the up and down alignment there, but here's where the real fun begins. In the back here, get some light going on here, so you can see they don't quite line up where I need them to. So what I'm hoping to do is actually cut where I've drawn this line here, because this quarter panel comes down and it actually goes almost another 1.5 inch inboard underneath this rocker here. Well, what I want to do is try to get it to this panel to blend into this panel. So that's why I've drawn this mark here, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut into actually both pieces on this line, so that way when the cut is finished, I'll have these two pieces should match together. I mean, there's no need for real close tolerances. It doesn't have to be perfect, because obviously the rest of this has all got to be replaced. What's left of the floorboards, I didn't realize they're actually in pretty bad shape. They've been fiberglassed over, kind of like the Buick. But I can get floorboards down the road. It's not an issue. So I'm going to make that cut, and I'll pick up on this video. We'll see how it looks. Alright, so that actually worked out pretty well. As you see, I made my cut through both of those, the quarter panel and the roll pan. Let me hang up this light here real quick so I can free up a hand here. I actually cut through both pieces of material straight down. That way, you know, they'll line up perfectly there. But here's the next issue. So I'm all lined up here on the top, and using this clamp to line up these two surfaces here, which helps line up everything up top. But let's go take a look at the bottom side here, and you'll see something very interesting. Close the door here. So the bottoms don't match up at all. See if I can get a better view. There you go. So again, this is the quarter panel, the rocker panel, and it looks like the bend on the rocker panel doesn't quite meet the bend on the quarter panel here. I got quite a bit of a gap going on here. So that brought up the question, do I try to line up these surfaces here on the bottom that are going to be visible on the outside, or do I line up these surfaces here on the top side? I think my best bet, I'm going to line up these surfaces on the top side, get those all tacked in, and then I'm going to have to go back down to the bottom side. And what I might end up doing is just start my weld here and just hammer and dolly it together to kind of line up these bends.